Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to talk with Patrik about the 3 different types of race sails that Patrik has in the range. Because for me, when I joined the brand last month, it was super interesting that they have not only a foil sail and a fin sail, but also the medium aspect in between. So I had a talk with him while I was at Defi, where he was also, because it's not so easy to meet him. He lives in Western Australia, which is quite far away. But yeah, at the Defi I had a chance to speak with him. So here's the video explaining the 3 different types of race sails from Patrik Diethelm. Hi Patrik.
Hey Nils.
Good to meet up here in Grosson. I did now the media job here, and yeah, now we're switching over to the Patrik sails. Pretty excited about that. I don't really know too much about the sails. I mean, I've looked at them, of course, and I myself, I do, of course, as you guys know, I do a bit of slalom, a bit of speed, and also a bit of foiling. And Patrik is quite unique with the sails because, like most other brands I see, they have like a dedicated fin slalom sail and then they have a dedicated foil sail. With Patrik, the names are a little bit different. Yeah, it's like low aspect, medium aspect, high aspect. Can you like explain a little bit what is the thought process behind this?
Well, it's very easy. I mean, as the name already says, low aspect is like with the fins or with the foils. So the sail is rather, let's say, have a wider boom and a bit shorter mast. So more like dedicated for fin with a bit more backhand pressure. And then I'll immediately jump to the high aspect, which is the opposite of the low aspect, obviously. Sure. So shorter boom, more luff, with less backhand pressure or almost nothing at all for foiling. And then, of course, MA, it's right in the middle. And the idea behind the MA is actually if someone is a bit into not necessarily competition, but he loves racing or, you know, like slalom or speed, and he likes fin and foil. With 3 sails, you can actually cover from 6-7 knots all the way up to over 40 knots. So basically, imagine you have like an 8-6. Yeah. You start with foiling. You pump 6-7 knots, just cruise around. When the wind gets stronger, you luff fin as well. So you take a board with the fin, same sail.
So it's a bit of a hybrid sail, so to say. You can do both fin windsurfing and also foil windsurfing.
Exactly.
It works great for both. So for someone like me who does a bit of everything, like let's say I want the full range, what sails would you recommend for me that wants to do all speed, slalom, foil? Because I see, for example, the low aspect, you have it only in the small sizes, so up to 6'4", I believe. So for me, what you recommend, I go with the small sails in the low aspect, and then I jump on the medium aspect. In the big sizes, I take the high aspect. Or do you actually need, if you want to do also foiling in strong wind, can you not do foiling with a low aspect and also need a high aspect for this one? Because I think a lot of people have this thought process then, which sails do I need, like, or can I go with a low aspect maybe, and then the bigger sizes I can go just with a medium aspect and cover everything, because obviously some people also don't want to have 12 sails in their car.
Sure, I mean, exactly. I mean, it's a budget thing as well. I mean, everybody's different. Some like to foil only in very light winds, and then in the strong winds they want to do fin. Some people actually like also strong wind foiling, so it's very individual. I'm not so sure about yourself. Back to the MA. So as I said before, you start foiling with the 8-6 in very light winds. As soon as you feel a bit overpowered, you go on the fin. And then when you feel like overpowered on the fin on the 8-6, you can actually then jump on a 6-8 and do foiling again. Okay. Until you feel overpowered. And then you go with the fin again on the 6-8. And then when you then feel overpowered, you take a 5-0 foil. Because then with a 6-8 fully powered with the fin, you're already at 20 knots. So on the 5-0 with 20 knots, you can plane again on the foil. And then when you're overpowered or when you don't feel comfortable anymore on the foil with the 5-0, you jump on the fin with the 5-0, and then you know how it is. Then you go to 40 knots. Yeah, so with 3 sails, it's a much smaller budget. You can cover everything, and you can actually do both. You can do fin and foil.
Can you say, maybe that's a stupid question, but like every kind of brand I feel is like something that they're extremely looking forward, some characteristic. What would you say the Patrik sails excel at? Like what is the main focus of the sails? Is it like control, top speed like this, you know?
Well, that's a tricky one. As other brands only have, let's say, 2 sails, they are more limited. As a designer, I of course have my preferences as well, what I'm really looking for. a sail how to perform. And then this is basically, I want a big range of use. The worst for me, when I'm out there, even in like a competition or something, if I always blame my gear and say, oh, the sail was too big, oh, the sail was too small, and oh, the wind dropped, oh, after the jibe I couldn't plane. It's just always those excuses, you know?
You're always on the wrong sail size in the end, no?
Exactly. So if you have a big range of views, the different sizes, they overlap the performance.
Okay.
You know, so if you have early planing, but you still have it easy controllable, you know what I mean? Then I have an overlap.
Yeah.
And then when I'm really overpowered, or when I feel like, ooh, now it's time to change, my smaller sail for sure has way enough early planing performance, so I'm not scared to go one sail size lower. The wide range of views is very, very important also for the general performance. I can actually say the trick a little bit. What makes the sail fast, let's say if you have a nice release on the sail, that gives you acceleration and top speed.
Feels like it's breathing.
Exactly, so you feel like it's slippery. And let's say a sail which is controllable is when the top is almost a little bit like it's closer, because when you get the power in the top, it's pushing the board down.
Yeah.
But you have to be very careful when you then have this sail with, let's say, a very nice release, but in the gusts you feel like, whoa, you know, it gets really lifty. If you think about leverage, if I do something further down, I need to do a big change to keep the board down. But if I do it all the way up, because of the height of the mast, so the leverage, I can do something very tiny, which is not affecting the top speed too much, but affects a lot the leverage and pushing the board down in the gust. So if I just the top batten, if I tuck it in a little bit, when you look from the back, the loose ledge, it kind of, you have the boom, then the loose ledge starts to open up, and at the very top, it almost comes in that tiny bit.
Back up,
exactly. So
because I think you don't want the wind going out the top, but rather.
Let's say in the gust, or when you hit the chop, it can actually wiggle and open up for a second, but in general, it stays almost a bit. But I'm talking like nothing. This is nothing. This is really so tiny that when you hit the gust, when you feel, and sometimes you even see the gust. You see the black coming, and you're like, oh boy, I'm already powered up, and now I gotta die. Exactly. So, but in this moment, with our sails, like you're like, oh, and you're already in the gust. You go through the gust, and then suddenly you realize, nothing happened. You know, like. You just keep accelerating. So next time you don't even prepare yourself. You stay in your position and you just push. So I think this is what I especially look for when I'm designing, let's say, the slalom sails.
Yeah, I see, like when I look at the sails, there's so much thought that goes into it. For example, what I saw here is like all the other brands, you basically put the batten tension from the back. With Patrik, that's not the case, no? What is the thought process behind it? Is it like to put the weight further to the front, or why is that?
Well, originally this is not even my idea. There was another brand who had this before, and I was writing that was sponsored by this brand. And when I first got the sail, I was like, that's pretty smart. But later they stopped. So now making my own sails, and I'm thinking like, I'll do it. And I did, tested the sails, and I'm like, I don't know why they stopped again. Maybe it was because some customers, or I don't know, they complained because it was a bit tricky to put the tension on the batten in the front, because when the sail is rigged, you know, like it might be a bit tricky. But then I was thinking like, okay, if I can manage that it's easy to trim the batten even when the sail is fully rigged.
But what is the advantage of having it in the front rather than in the back?
Well, first of all, you have less weight at the back. I mean, imagine you have all the batten tensioners. Each batten tensioner is a whatever it is like. Because if you have, depending on what kind of batten tensioner you have, so there's a rod tensioner. Yeah. So that's the batten tensioner going over the batten. And there's a tube tensioner. When you have a tube, then the batten tensioner goes inside. The tube tensioner is much lighter. But there's most brands in the top, you don't have a big tube. So you have the little batten. So you have actually the batten tensioner, which is going outside onto the batten. And the one where it goes outside over the batten, if you have the batten tube, you need to have a ferrule, like this plastic piece, with a rod inside, which is heavier, and then you have the batten tensioner. And that whole thing, it's actually quite heavy, to be honest. I mean, I don't know, I've never really measured, but if you have 3 of them, you easily end up having 100 grams, 100, I'm not exactly sure. And that's all the way at the back. When you put them to the front, I mean, you have the mast, which is heavy in the front, and the way the sail rides is everything in the front. And then there's one more thing. Wherever you have a batten tensioner, the batten pocket at the back becomes wider and thicker. So if you go into very detail and you talk about laminar flow, it's like a trailing edge on the foil or on the fin. If you have a very wide trailing edge,
and those are super thin, yeah.
Exactly, so it kind of slows down, right? So with that one, you have nothing at the back. So you just have the batten go to 0, and putting tension on those tensioners in the front is actually absolutely no problem, because when you flick the sail to the other side, and then you have easy access to it, and we have this long batten tensioner.
Yeah.
So you just go inside and you can tension the battens without any problem when the sail is fully rigged.
I'm really excited to try everything now and see for myself how do the low aspect, medium aspect, high aspect compare to each other. I think you have to head to Thailand now, so you're pretty much in a hurry. I'm heading back to Germany. But it was good to meet up here. Thanks for the chat. And if you guys have any questions for Patrik, leave them down below in the comments. And maybe I can forward them to him and you get your questions answered. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. It's now a couple of weeks later and I actually have all the sails here in the van now. The medium aspect, high aspect and low aspect. And yeah, I'm going to try all these sails and all the different combinations over the next week. So subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss any of the videos coming up about the new gear. See you next time.